The invitation read, Mountain Crest Resort, Daniel, don't attend. I replied, understood. The day of the event, the resort director approached Dad. Sir, the owner needs to speak with you. They pointed at me. Dad's face went white. Security waited for my instructions. But let me start from the beginning. Let me tell you about my father's 65th birthday party, and how it became the moment everything changed. My name is Daniel Richardson. I'm 31 years old. And for most of my life I've been the family disappointment. My older sister Victoria is a surgeon. Cardiovascular. She saves lives daily at Seattle's top hospital and drives a Mercedes that costs more than most people's houses. My younger brother James is a corporate attorney, partner at a downtown firm before he turned 35. He wears suits that cost $3,000 and has photos with the governor on his office wall. And then there's me, Daniel. The one who never finished anything. The one who dropped out of law school after one semester. The one who started some internet thing that the family never quite understood. At family gatherings, the introductions went like this. This is Victoria, our daughter, the heart surgeon. This is James, our son, partner at Morrison & Wells. This is Daniel, our other son. He does website work, online stuff. The pause before my introduction always lasted 2 seconds longer than everyone else's. I never corrected them. Never explained that my internet thing was actually a SaaS platform for enterprise resource management. Never mentioned that I'd sold my first startup for $8 million in 2019 and used that money to build something bigger. Never brought up the fact that my current company, Zenith Solutions, was valued at $180 million and served clients in 14 countries. I was watching. Testing. Waiting to see if anyone would ask the right questions. They never did. In 2021, I made an unusual investment. Mountain Crest Resort, a luxury property 3 hours north of Seattle. 50 acres of pristine wilderness, a main lodge with 35 rooms, private cabins, a world-class restaurant and event facilities that could host up to 300 guests. The previous owners were retiring. They'd listed it at $28 million. I paid $25 million cash through an investment LLC called Summit Holdings. Why buy a resort? Partly because the financials were solid. High-end destination properties were appreciating rapidly. Partly because I wanted a place where I could think without the noise of the city. And partly because my family had been holding events there for years, and I was curious what they'd do if they had to ask permission from the owner. I kept the existing management team. The resort director, Patricia Chin, had been running operations for 8 years. She was exceptional at her job. When I met with her after the acquisition, I had one specific request. Run everything as you normally would. I'm a silent owner. But if my family books an event here, I want to know about it. Patricia raised an eyebrow. Your family. The Richardsons. My father is Thomas Richardson. They've held events here before. I remember them. They booked a corporate retreat 2 years ago. And I believe there was an anniversary party. Exactly. If they book again, let me know. But don't tell them I own the property. She looked at me for a long moment. May I ask why? I'm conducting an experiment in human behavior. She smiled. Understood. I'll keep you informed. For 3 years, Mountain Crest operated under my ownership. Revenue increased 34%. Guest satisfaction scores hit all-time highs. And my family continued to have no idea that their disappointing son owned their favorite venue. The email arrived 6 weeks before Dad's birthday. Not addressed to me personally. It was a mass email sent to the extended family through my mother's account. You're invited to celebrate Thomas Richardson's 65th birthday at Mountain Crest Resort. Saturday, October 14th. Cocktails at 6 p.m., dinner at 7 p.m. Black tie. 180 guests. RSVP by September 30th. I was on the email list. Barely. My address was at the bottom after second cousins I'd met twice. I replied to the group email. Sounds great. I'll be there. 3 days later, I received a separate email. From my father's personal account. Not the group thread. Daniel. Regarding the birthday celebration. After some consideration, your mother and I have decided this should be an adults-only event. Given the formal nature and the guest list, which includes several of my business associates and high-level contacts, we feel it's best to keep the atmosphere professional. We know you're busy with your computer projects anyway, Perhaps we can do a separate dinner for your birthday next month. That. I read it 3 times. Adults only. As if I were a child who might embarrass him in front of his business associates. I was 31 years old. I ran a company worth $180 million. I had just closed a contract with a Fortune 100 company worth $4.7 million annually. And my father was uninviting me to his birthday party. I replied, "Understood. Enjoy the celebration." His response came an hour later. "Appreciate you understanding. This is important for my professional reputation." I forwarded the entire email chain to Patricia at Mountain Crest with a simple note. "This is the event I mentioned. Let's discuss details." Patricia called me that afternoon. "Your father's assistant contacted us yesterday," she said. "They're requesting the grand ballroom, premium bar service, the 7-course tasting menu and exclusive use of the grounds for the evening. Estimated cost, $85,000. And they have no idea I own the property. None whatsoever. They negotiated rates with our events manager like any other client. Perfect. Approve everything they want. Give them the presidential treatment. I want this to be the best event Mountain Crest has ever hosted. Daniel, can I ask what you're planning?" "I'm planning to attend my father's birthday party." "But he uninvited you." "He uninvited me from his event. But he can't uninvite the property owner from his own resort." I could hear the smile in her voice. "Understood. What do you need from me?" "Nothing unusual. Just run the event perfectly. I'll arrive around 6:30 p.m. When my father asks what I'm doing there, that's when I'll need you." "I'll be ready." I didn't tell anyone I was coming. My phone stayed silent. No calls from family asking why I wasn't attending, no one checking if I was hurt by the exclusion. The silence was its own answer. Victoria called once, but it was about something else entirely. "Daniel, do you know anyone who does website updates? The hospital's donation page is broken." "I might know someone," I said. "Great. Can you ask around? We need someone cheap though. The budget is tight." My company had a web development team of 47 people. Our smallest contract was $200,000. But she was asking if I knew someone cheap. "I'll see what I can do," I said. "Thanks." "Oh, are you going to Dad's party?" "I wasn't invited." "What? That's weird. Must be an oversight. You should call Mom." "It wasn't an oversight. Dad specifically uninvited me." Silence on the line. Then, "Oh, well, I'm sure he has his reasons. You know how he is about professional events." "I do know." "Okay, well, let me know about the website person. Bye." She hung up. Never asked if I was okay. Never questioned why our father would exclude me. James didn't call at all. October 14th arrived with perfect fall weather. Clear skies, temperature in the mid-60s, leaves turning gold and red across the mountain landscape. I drove up to Mountain Crest alone, arriving at 6:15 p.m. I parked in the private owner's spot behind the main lodge, a space the guests would never see. I was wearing a custom Tom Ford tuxedo that cost $8,000. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I wanted to look exactly like what I was. Successful on my own terms. Patricia met me at the private entrance. "Everything's ready," she said. "Your father's party is in full swing. 178 guests. The dinner service begins at 7 p.m. Your father just finished his cocktail hour speech thanking everyone for coming." "Did he mention me?" "He mentioned Victoria's achievements in cardiology and James's recent case victory. He thanked them for being exactly the successful children he'd hoped to raise." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "I see. Daniel, are you sure you want to do this?" "I've never been more sure of anything." We walked through the service corridor to the main lobby. I could hear the party. Laughter, conversation, the gentle music of a string quartet I'd specifically approved for the event. "One more thing," Patricia said. "Your father's assistant called yesterday asking about extended hours. They want the party to go until 2 a.m. Open bar throughout." "And what did you tell them?" I said we'd need to confirm with ownership. They offered an extra $15,000 for the extension. "Approve it. Tonight is going to be perfect for them. Right up until it isn't." I walked into the grand ballroom at 6:32 p.m. The space was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the mountains, tables set with fine china and fresh flowers. My father had spared no expense. On my property. I stood in the doorway for a moment. Several people glanced at me, a well-dressed stranger in a tuxedo. No one recognized me immediately. Then my cousin Michelle saw me. Her eyes went wide. Daniel, what are you doing here? Her voice carried. Heads turned. I saw my mother's face across the room. Confusion, then something like panic. My father was near the bar, talking with a man I recognized as the CEO of a regional banking chain. He turned at the commotion. Our eyes met. I watched my father's expression cycle through surprise, confusion, and then anger. He excused himself from his conversation and walked toward me, my mother right behind him. Daniel, he said quietly. What are you doing here? Attending a party. I thought we discussed this. This is not an appropriate event for you. I got that message. The adults-only email was very clear. People were watching now, trying to pretend they weren't, but the conversations had gotten quieter. Then why are you here? My mother's voice was tight. Daniel, this is embarrassing. Is it? I looked around the ballroom. I think it's a lovely event. The venue is spectacular. My father stepped closer, his voice dropping. I'm asking you to leave. This is my birthday celebration. These are important people. I don't need you here creating drama. Creating drama? I just walked in. Your presence here is inappropriate. You weren't invited for a reason. And what reason is that, Dad? He glanced around. More people were definitely listening now. This isn't the time or place. No, I think it is. You sent me an email saying this was adults only. That my presence might damage your professional reputation. I'm curious what you think I might do that would be so damaging. My mother grabbed my arm. Daniel, please. Don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene, Mom. I'm just asking a question. My father's jaw was tight. Fine. You want to know? You're 31 years old and you still haven't built anything real. These people here, they're executives, business owners, community leaders. They've accomplished things. I don't need them asking what my son does and having to explain that you run some internet hobby. The words hung in the air. An internet hobby. I looked at my father. Really looked at him. At 65, he was still imposing. Tall, well-dressed, the kind of man who commanded rooms. He'd built a successful consulting firm, retired comfortably, and spent his social capital carefully. And he saw me as a liability. An internet hobby, I repeated. Daniel. Patricia appeared at exactly the right moment. She walked up to our small group with the confident stride of someone who owned the space. Because technically I did. Excuse me, she said. Mr. Richardson? My father turned, grateful for the interruption. Yes. I'm Patricia Chin, the resort director. I apologize for the interruption, but the property owner has arrived and needs to speak with you about tonight's arrangements. My father looked annoyed. Can't this wait? I'm in the middle of my party. I'm afraid not, sir. There's been some confusion about the event authorization. What confusion? Everything was confirmed weeks ago. Patricia gestured toward me. Perhaps the owner can explain. Mr. Richardson, this is Daniel Richardson. The property owner. For 3 full seconds nothing happened. My father stared at Patricia. Then at me. Then back at Patricia. That's not funny, he said. I'm not joking, sir. Patricia produced a tablet and pulled up documentation. Summit Holdings LLC acquired Mountain Crest Resort in 2021. Daniel Richardson is the sole owner and managing member. She turned the tablet so my father could see. Articles of incorporation. Property deed. All with my name. The color drained from his face. My mother made a small sound. Daniel, you own this place. I do. Bought it for $25 million 3 years ago. Victoria had appeared next to us. Wait, you own Mountain Crest? This entire resort? Yes. James was there too now, phone in hand like he was ready to fact-check everything. That's impossible. You don't have that kind of money. I sold my first company for $8 million in 2019. Used it to build Zenith Solutions. Current valuation, $180 million. Bought this property as an investment. It's appreciated to about $32 million now. I watched them process this. All 4 of them. My father, my mother, Victoria, James. Their faces showed the same sequence. Disbelief, confusion, recalculation. You told us you did website work, my mother said weakly. You assumed I did website work. I actually run an enterprise software company with 200 employees across 4 countries. We serve clients like Boeing, Amazon, and Microsoft. Last year's revenue was $47 million. My father found his voice. Why wouldn't you tell us this? I did tell you. Multiple times. You just didn't listen. No, you said you did internet stuff. Computer projects. And you never asked for details. Not once in 10 years. You just decided it was a hobby and stopped paying attention. Patricia was still standing there, tablet in hand. Mr. Richardson, should I inform the guests that tonight's event is approved by ownership? There was some concern about the arrangements. I looked at my father. At his expensive suit and his shocked face and his birthday party full of important people. Tonight's event is fully approved, I said. In fact, I'm upgrading the bar to top-shelf spirits. No additional charge. Happy birthday, Dad. Daniel. Enjoy your party. All 178 guests. I've made sure everything is perfect. The 7-course meal, the string quartet, the extended hours until 2 a.m. All arranged on my property. I started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, and Dad? About my internet hobby. Zenith Solutions was named to the Inc. 5000 list of fastest-growing companies for 3 consecutive years. I was featured in Forbes 30 Under 30. And last month I closed a contract with the Department of Defense worth $12 million over 2 years. I let that sink in. But I understand why you wouldn't want me at your adults-only party. Clearly, I haven't accomplished anything real. I didn't leave. That would have been too easy. Instead, I walked to the bar and ordered a scotch. The bartender, who knew exactly who I was, served me a 25-year Macallan. On the house, Mr. Richardson, he said quietly. I took my drink and moved to the edge of the ballroom. Several guests approached me, curious about the commotion they'd witnessed. Are you really the owner? One woman asked. I am. This is a beautiful property. How long have you owned it? 3 years. We've made significant improvements to the facilities and increased our sustainability initiatives. What do you do when you're not running a resort? I run a software company. Enterprise Resource Management Solutions. She was genuinely interested. We talked for 10 minutes about technology, business scaling, and mountain property investments. She handed me her card. She was a venture capital director looking at tech investments. We should talk, she said. Your company sounds interesting. Across the room I could see my family in a tight cluster. My father kept glancing at me. Victoria looked shell-shocked. James was on his phone, probably searching for information about Zenith Solutions. My mother broke away from the group and walked over. Daniel, can we talk? Privately. Of course. We stepped out onto the terrace. The October air was cool, the view of the mountains spectacular. Why didn't you tell us? She asked. About which part? The first company I sold. The second company I built. The resort I bought. The Forbes feature. Which accomplishment exactly did you want to hear about? Any of it. All of it. Mom, I tried. For years. Every family dinner I'd mention projects I was working on. Contracts I'd signed. You'd smile and nod and then immediately change the subject to Victoria's surgeries or James's cases. We didn't know it was that serious. You didn't ask. There's a difference. She was quiet for a moment. Your father is very upset. I imagine he is. He didn't mean what he said. About you not building anything real. He did. He's believed that for years. Tonight just made him say it out loud. Daniel. Mom, I was uninvited to Dad's 65th birthday party. Not because of a space limit. Not because of budget constraints. Because he was embarrassed of me. He explicitly told me my presence would damage his professional reputation. He was just stressed about the event. Stop. Please stop making excuses for him. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. What do you want from us? Nothing. I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. I walked back inside, leaving her on the terrace. At 7 p.m. dinner service began. I sat at a small table in the back. A table I'd specifically had added to the seating chart. The 7-course meal was extraordinary. Seared scallops, duck confit, wagyu beef, each course paired with wines I'd personally selected from the resort cellar. My father gave another speech between the fourth and fifth courses. He thanked everyone for coming. He talked about his career, his accomplishments, his wonderful family. I'm blessed with 3 incredible children, he said. Victoria, who saves lives every day. James, who fights for justice. And Daniel, who is finding his way in the world. Finding his way. I was sitting in a ballroom of the resort I owned, drinking wine from my own cellar, listening to my father tell 178 people that I was still figuring things out. Several guests glanced at me. They'd heard the earlier conversation. They knew the truth now. After dinner, as people mingled and the dancing began, a man approached my table. Daniel Richardson? Yes. I'm Robert Chin, CEO of Pacific Systems. I heard an interesting conversation earlier about you owning this property. That's correct. I also heard you run Zenith Solutions. We've been looking at your platform for our operations management. Impressive work. We talked for 20 minutes. He asked intelligent questions about our architecture, our security protocols, our scalability. He understood exactly what I'd built. I'd like to schedule a demonstration, he said. We're looking at a 2-year contract, probably in the $3 to $5 million range. I gave him my card. My real card. PO Zenith Solutions. Have your team reach out. We'd be happy to present. After he left, 3 more people approached. 2 other CEOs and a director from a tech investment firm. Word had spread through the party that the owner wasn't just some silent investor. I was the owner present at the party, the one Thomas Richardson had tried to exclude. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. At 9:30 p.m. my father found me on the terrace. We need to talk, he said. I'm listening. Why are you doing this? Making a spectacle at my birthday party? I walked into a party at my own property. You're the one who made it a spectacle by trying to have me removed. I didn't know you owned the resort. Would it have mattered? Would you have treated me differently if you'd known? He was quiet. The answer is yes, I said. You would have treated me differently. Because you only respect success you can see and understand. You respect Victoria's surgeon title. You respect James's law partnership. But you never respected what I built because you didn't understand it. I don't understand computer stuff. It's not about computers, Dad. It's about respect. I've been building businesses for 10 years. I've been successful for 10 years. And you never once asked for details. You just labeled it as an internet hobby and dismissed it. I'm your father. You should have made me understand. No, you're my father. You should have tried to understand. He looked out at the mountains. I got 3 business cards tonight from people asking about your company. Robert Chin wants a meeting. Patricia mentioned you were featured in Forbes. Yes. Why did you hide all this? I didn't hide it. I just stopped performing it for you. I stopped trying to impress you. And when I did that, you decided I was a failure. That's not fair. You uninvited me to your birthday party. You told me my presence would damage your professional reputation. You told 178 people I'm finding my way, while I'm sitting in a resort I own, running a company worth more than you've made in your entire career. That landed. I saw it in his face. Daniel, I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every word. You just didn't expect it to have consequences. Patricia appeared at the door. Daniel, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's an issue with tomorrow's corporate booking that needs your approval. I'll be right there. I turned back to my father. Enjoy the rest of your party. Everything's paid for. The staff will take excellent care of you. Are you leaving? I'm working. Some of us have actual businesses to run. I walked past him into the resort. The party continued until 1:47 a.m. I watched from my office on the second floor, reviewing the next day's bookings and responding to emails from my actual business. At midnight, I received a text from Victoria. Can we talk tomorrow? I think we need to clear some things up. At 12:15 a.m. James sent, your company's financials are impressive. I looked them up. I didn't realize the scale. At 12:43 a.m. my mother sent, your father is very hurt. Please call me tomorrow. I didn't respond to any of them. The guests left in waves. Luxury cars pulling out of the circular drive, valets running, everyone talking about what a lovely event it had been. My father and mother were among the last to leave. I watched from my window as they got into their Mercedes. My father looked up at the building, at his son's building, and I wondered what he was thinking. Patricia knocked on my office door at 2:15 a.m. They're all gone. Housekeeping is starting cleanup. The event went perfectly. Thank you, Patricia. Excellent work as always. Daniel, can I ask something? Of course. Do you feel better? After tonight? I thought about it. I don't feel better. But I feel clear. Clear. For years I thought maybe I was the problem. Maybe I wasn't successful enough, accomplished enough, impressive enough. Tonight proved that wasn't it. I could own a resort, run a $180 million company and have Forbes features, and my father would still see me as lesser. Because he decided who I was years ago and refused to update his assessment. That must hurt. It does. But it also frees me. I don't need to keep trying. I can just be who I am. My phone exploded with messages over the next week. Victoria called 6 times before I finally answered. Daniel, we need to talk about what happened. What's there to talk about? You humiliated Dad at his own birthday party. I attended a party at my own property. Dad humiliated himself. He didn't know you owned the resort. That's not the issue, Victoria. The issue is he uninvited me because he was ashamed of me. Because he thought I was a failure. That's the part you should be upset about. Silence. Vicky, did you ever ask me what my company does? Did you ever Google Zenith Solutions? Did you ever wonder how I afforded my house or my car or anything else? I thought you were doing okay. I didn't know it was this big. You didn't know because you didn't ask. None of you did. You just accepted Dad's narrative that I was the disappointing son and never questioned it. That's not fair. Isn't it? How many times have you called me in the past 5 years to talk about my life? Not to ask for tech help. Not to mention me in passing. To actually ask about my work, my goals, my achievements. She was quiet for a long time. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. But it doesn't change anything. Are you going to stop coming to family events? I don't know yet. I'm figuring out what I want my relationship with this family to look like. Daniel, we're still family. Family shows up for each other. Family asks questions. Family doesn't let one person get uninvited from birthday parties because they're considered embarrassing. You all failed that test. I hung up. James was next. He sent a long email about how he'd looked into Zenith Solutions, how impressive the growth metrics were, how he'd like to discuss potential investment opportunities. I replied, not interested. But thanks for finally looking. My mother called every day. I let it go to voicemail. Her messages were all variations of the same theme. Your father is hurting, we need to fix this, family is important, please call back. On day 8 my father called. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. Daniel. Dad. I've been thinking about what you said. About respect. I waited. I was wrong. About how I treated you. About what I said at the party. You were right, I didn't try to understand what you built. I just assumed because it wasn't law or medicine that it was somehow less important. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. I appreciate that. Can we fix this? I looked out my office window at Lake Washington. I don't know, Dad. You spent 10 years dismissing me. You can't fix that with one apology. What do you need from me? I need you to understand that your approval isn't what makes me valuable. I'm successful whether you acknowledge it or not. I built something meaningful whether you understand it or not. And I'm going to keep building it whether you're proud of me or not. I am proud of you. I see that now. You're proud of my net worth and my property and my Forbes feature. But are you proud of me? The person who built those things. The son who kept trying to connect with you for years while you dismissed him. He didn't have an answer. That's what I thought, I said. When you can answer that question honestly, call me back. I ended the call. Thanksgiving. The first family holiday since the party. My mother called 2 weeks before. Will you come to Thanksgiving dinner? Please? Your father wants to see you. I'll think about it. Daniel, it's been 3 months. This has gone on long enough. Has it? Has Dad actually changed? Or does he just want things to go back to normal? He's been different. He asks about you. He's been reading articles about your company. That's nice. But reading articles isn't the same as understanding who I am. I didn't commit to Thanksgiving. I let the question hang. 2 days before the holiday, my father showed up at my office in Seattle. Not my home office. My actual office. The headquarters of Zenith Solutions. My assistant called me. Daniel, there's a Thomas Richardson in the lobby asking to see you. Send him up. My father walked into my office and stopped. He looked around at the open floor plan, the developers at their workstations, the conference rooms with whiteboards covered in code, the walls with our company values and our client logos. This is impressive, he said quietly. Thank you. I didn't realize it was this substantial. No one in the family did. That was the point. He sat down across from my desk. I came to ask you personally to come to Thanksgiving. But I also came to see this. To understand what you've built. And what do you think? I think I've been an idiot. I think I spent 10 years dismissing something I didn't understand and I missed out on knowing my own son. I leaned back in my chair. What changed? I had lunch with Robertson last week, the CEO I met at my party. He spent 30 minutes telling me about your company's technology, your leadership, your reputation in the industry. And I realized he knew more about what you'd accomplished than I did. Your father knew less about you than a stranger at a party. That must have been uncomfortable. It was humiliating. But I deserved it. He paused. Daniel, I'm not asking you to forget the past. I'm asking for a chance to do better in the future. I studied my father. He looked older somehow. Tired. I'll come to Thanksgiving, I said. But things are different now. I'm not going to perform success for you. I'm not going to prove myself. I'm just going to be myself. And if that's not enough, then we'll know where we stand. That's fair. He stood to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, I told your mother and Victoria and James that they need to apologize too. What happened wasn't just my fault. They all participated in dismissing you. I appreciate that. And Daniel, I've started telling people about what you've accomplished. Not because of the money or the Forbes feature. Because you built something from nothing and you did it without anyone's help. That takes real character. After he left, I sat at my desk for a long time. Was one conversation enough? No. Was it a start? Maybe. I showed up at my parents' house at 2 p.m. with a bottle of wine that cost $400. Not to show off. But because I could and because it was excellent wine. Everyone was already there. Victoria, James, their spouses, my parents. The introductions were different this time. This is Daniel, our son. He runs Zenith Solutions, a technology company. My mother's voice was careful, proud, uncertain. This is my brother Daniel. He owns CREST Resort. Among other things. Victoria's addition felt forced but genuine. Dinner was awkward at first. No one quite knew how to act. But halfway through the meal, James asked a real question. Daniel, how did you get the Department of Defense contract? That must have been a complex bid process. I explained it. The RFP, the security requirements, the technical demonstration, the negotiation. He listened. Really listened. Asked follow-up questions. Victoria chimed in. I told the hospital board about your company. They're interested in your resource management platform for our surgical scheduling. Have them reach out. We'd be happy to do a demo. My father was quiet through most of dinner. But when dessert came, he raised his glass. I want to say something. 3 months ago I made a terrible mistake. I failed to see and appreciate what my son had accomplished. I let my own narrow view of success blind me to what was right in front of me. Daniel, I'm sorry. And I'm proud of you. Not just for what you've built, but for how you've handled my failure to recognize it. The table was silent. To Daniel, he said. To family. And to second chances. Everyone raised their glasses. I looked around the table. At my family, imperfect and flawed and trying. To second chances, I said. But earned ones. We drank. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale resolution. But it was honest. And for the first time in 10 years I felt like my family was actually seeing me. Not the disappointing son. Not the internet hobby guy. Just Daniel. The person I'd been all along. The one who'd built something real with or without their approval. The one who owned the resort where they'd tried to exclude him. The one who didn't need validation anymore, but was willing to accept genuine effort. That was enough.